Hi everyone, my name is Colin Ewan and I'll be here to show you guys how to write to the Azure Event Hubs as well as read from the Azure Event Hubs. So to start, we'll go to the external historian. This is where the write data occurs. So we'll add a configuration and we'll select the Azure Event Hubs. We'll give it a label and a namespace, which can be found in your Event Hubs portal. Next, we have the Event Hub name for the specific Event Hub. And finally, we have a connection string. This can be found in shared access policies in your Azure Event Hub portal. Next up, we have partition ID, which allows you to select which partition you'd want to read from. If you leave it blank, you read from all partitions, so we'll leave it blank here. Here we have a producer count and a message split count. The producer count allows you to determine how many producers you want writing up to the Event Hub, whereas the message split count allows you to split your batch into a certain amount of splits. So we can have 10,000 points in a batch, and maybe we want to split that into 2,000 points each. So we'll put 5 here, and that'll make it 10,000 points, 2,000 each, and we can do a producer count of 5 so they can all write in parallel. However, for this demonstration, we'll just leave it on the default with 1 producer and 0 message splits. The accumulation time is 5,000 milliseconds, which is 5 seconds. It'll accumulate data. And the maximum number of buffered values is how many values to buffer before writing. And we'll put that at none, as we'll write right away. Finally, we have log writes at information level, which allows you to log whenever writes are occurring in the event log. So next up, we have the document settings. Document contains multiple points means that if there are multiple points in a message and you want to batch them together, then you should click this. If you're not batching your messages, then you shouldn't click it. And since I've removed the buffered values, then we don't need document contains multiple points. We want to specify document definition because this allows us to tell the DataHub what format we want to write out to the Event Hubs. We have 3 panes here. We've got the script pane, we have common formulas, and we have the example. So since we're writing single point at a time, we can select the sample for the JSON single point, and it pops up with what the script looks like and then what the example will look like. So it takes a random example with a name, value, quality, and timestamp, just like it says over here in the document. And that's pretty standard. It lets us know it's valid JSON, and we can move on. So today we'll be writing DataPid data, which can be shown here. There's an SP, an MV, and a PV, which we'll select. And these will be our sample points. And now we just click apply, and it shows the status is running. We're going to have a look in the connections and see that we're sending points. And now we're writing data to the Event Hubs. We can see the data we wrote into the Event Hubs by going to the Azure portal. We see here our namespace, our Event Hub name, and the incoming messages that we've been writing. If you'd like to read data from the Event Hub, then you can navigate over to the Event Streams plugin. In the Event Streams plugin, we can create a new configuration, and we select Event Hubs, start with a label, add the Event Hub name, the Event Hub connection string from before, and finally, for the data domain name, this is what's going to be needed if the points that we're reading do not already have a data domain. Since we're reading DataPid points, then we don't need the data domain name. Next, we can look at storage and checkpointing. So there's the earliest offset, which is the beginning of the Event Hubs stream, the latest offset, which is the current present time, and the checkpoint, which is any time that you select. So you can select a date, you can select a time, and it'll start reading from there. If you leave all these empty, then it'll read from wherever is last stored for this current configuration. Since it's a new configuration, that won't work. So we'll need to select one of these. Earliest offset is the choice here, as we want to read all data. Next, we have partition ID and name. Since we didn't select a partition ID earlier when we're writing, we also want to read from all partitions. Therefore, we won't need to name it as well. Finally, we have point type. So this is the equivalent of the document definition in the right side. So we're going to open this dialog up, and it's going to give us these options here. We're going to start with a template for single point, and we have the sample input, which reflects the points that we're writing to the Event Hub. This generates a schema with the name, value, quality, and timestamp. The schema tells DataHub how to process the messages. We have initialization script, which we were not using, and then we have a parser script, which parses every single point. So it tells it to pick up the name, the value, the quality, and the timestamp from the JSON, and write that to DataHub. So if we test this here, off the sample input, we'll see here that we wrote the MV with the value of 0, a good quality, and a good timestamp. So once we're okay, we can move forward and look at ignore failed points. If we want to ignore points that are going to fail, like if we know in the Event Hub there's going to be points that don't match this document definition, we can select this. However, we're pretty sure that all the points in the Event Hub right now all are data PID points. So we can go ahead and click this, and we'll be alerted if there's any errors. Let's apply, and now it's currently reading back data PID points from Event Hubs. We'll close the data PID so the points don't interfere as it's being read back into the data PID domain. We can first look at view data here, and we can see that PID1 is now receiving points from the event streams client. This is reading from Event Hubs, and we're getting all our values back from earlier today. That's all for today. We've learned how to write to the Event Hub and read from the Event Hub. Thank you so much, and have a good day.